Good evening, and welcome to Thoughts of Chairman Bob or Geordie Bob. I don't know what to call this, to be perfectly honest. It's a live stream. A lot of things have been happening since the last live stream. Obviously, the Thai boxing classes have gone ahead as per usual, online, albeit. And Tuesday night, last night, we had the meditation group, which went very well. We're talking about young, actually, something we're going to talk about today. I think we had some comments last week asking about archetypes, Jungian archetypes specifically. Um, and I've done a little bit of background reading and stuff. And I remember having worked with some Jungian stuff years and years and years ago when I was doing both my drama degree and studying some neurolinguistic programming. And archetypes are an interesting thing, but I made some notes here that they define Jungian archetypes as archaic symbols and images that derive from the collective unconscious. You know what that means? As proposed by obviously Carl Jung. This is an idea, a theory he came up with. And they're like the psychic counterpart to instinct, I suppose you could call it. Innate, unspecific knowledge of the situation, the hero, the father, the mother, the trickster. These all terms and names that are given to different types of archetype. It's good to see we've got two people already on board. I don't know whether there's any comments coming in as yet. Hopefully, we will be seeing a few comments. And I hear that bizarre glockenspiel at the beginning. I know I did. Oh, and we've had a message pop up, I believe. Let's have a look and see who it is. It's Chris. Hiya, mate. You all right? Good to see you. Just having a brief chat about archetypes. I was saying how they derive from the collective unconscious and come in different forms, and the hero is quite a common one. And I believe Jung was using them as a way of analysing personality types, and I believe they're still used in that context. Personally, archetypes are just another label, as far as I'm concerned, with the typical dogmas have attached to them as well. Um, we've had some problems, obviously, when we're live streaming with the latency on the link, and we've got about a 30-second delay. So I do apologise for the delay in answering or in you getting any information. So if we've got a delay, we've got a delay, I'm afraid. I'm 30 seconds behind you guys. Or ahead of you? Is it ahead or behind? I don't know. But we'll work with it. We'll work with it. It just means things might get a bit disjointed. I will be looking at sorting that out. I looked at a quick fix today, but I already had the live stream set up, so it wasn't possible to go back and change the settings for tonight's live stream. However, it will be sorted for next week, and we can get the delay down to about 5 seconds, which isn't bad. But anyway, 3 people on board. I'm not sure which 3. I know one of them. If you want to make a comment, please make a comment just so I know who it is. And if you've got any questions, anything you want to ask me about life, the universe, and Muay Thai, and anything else, that would be great. Just been rattling on about archetypes. I believe it was Tina who came up with that idea. Maybe we'll come back to the subject once we get a few more people on board. Otherwise, I'm going to have to repeat myself all over again. So what I've been doing today, got a blog post out, got another chapter written for the meditation handbook, and started scratching around with the 4th chapter for Beyond Beliefs, which is my excursion into Western and Eastern philosophy, working on the basis of Chan and Zen Buddhism and Pyrrhonism from the Hellenistic cultures of Greece, which should be interesting, and looking at a way to use it in a practical sense. Hiya, Charles. Charles is on board as well. Been doing a lot today. Hopefully you've seen the blog posts. There's only a couple of you on here anyway, so maybe you haven't, maybe you have. If you have seen the blog post and you have read it, just let me know what you thought. Don't be too hard on me. And my phone's just pinged, which means The other person viewing is Tina. She's pinged me on the phone. So we've got Tina on as well. So Tina, you probably realise that there's a 30-second delay, and I have already briefly talked about archetypes, and I think I was talking about them. They're simply labels, and I think labels sometimes have their use, but can be often overused. In a sense that people sort of mistake the label with reality, which they're blatantly probably not. Although you might want to suspend that judgment as well. So it's all good. It's all good. So we've got a 30-second delay, and I'm 30 seconds ahead of you guys, obviously. So if I pause for a bit, that'll be weird because you'll have to do catch up and then we'll have the delay again. Of course, we've got a delay, and it won't go until I fix the latency. So 4 people on board. That's almost as many people as we had last week. So if you've got a subject that's dear to your heart, or maybe one of my blog posts you've read, or something I've shown you, picture that I've put on Facebook, that would be good, or Twitter, that would be good. Any other ideas for subjects is always good and always welcomed. Otherwise, I'll launch into some stuff that I've been writing today, along with the website material as well, based on Pyrrhonism. So I might give you a potted history of Pyrrhonism. Who knows? Potted history of Buddhism. Who knows? A potted history of the prior Pichai camp. Who knows? We normally have Justin, who's a chief instructor for Wales, on here, and he usually comes on with the old Thai boxing questions. So if you're out there, Justin, that would be good. The other alternative, of course, is to text the man to make sure that he does get on here. And there he is. See if he's on tonight. Online, I'm going to say tonight. Online tonight at 8 p.m. And give or take 30 seconds. Yeah, we're on YouTube, aren't we? And we're online. So let's see if Justin joins us. It's a bit much when you have to ring people or message them in order to get them to come and listen to my crap. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. So, here we are, the Bob Show. Talk to me. Ask me a question, and then we'll move on. Obviously, I'm waiting for the 30-second delay, and then the comments will come on. Quite annoying, really. Everybody saying hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. Hi, Bob. Hi, Charles. Iris. Oh, record this. Oh, to your friend. Oh, good. Sent this to your friend Charles. Let's count the seconds, shall we? This is interesting. So I've just got that. Let's take a look. And it genuinely is about 30 seconds. Ah, maths and philosophy student. Okay, that should be interesting. Hopefully they'll come on and we can talk philosophy or maths. I only ever did A-level maths, pure and applied, when I was in Lancashire. That was interesting. I did it along with social and economic history just prior to going to university as an old man. He's cooking. Oh, I managed to get about 15-second delay there. That was interesting. So the delay has gone down a little bit. Evidently, whenever you live stream, a lot of people suffer from the same problem. It has to do with the size of I believe the size of the memory in the computer, how much stuff I've got running on it, the speed of the internet connection. Mine's very, very good. I double checked that just before we came live. And I also have it wired straight into the internet, so never to use Wi-Fi, because that is horrendous for live streaming. But live streaming does take up a lot of energy. And I'm going via another platform, which is Ecamm Live. So I'm not coming straight off YouTube. I'm actually... Obviously, I'm... what's this on my shirt? Look at that. That's pretty bad, isn't it? He spilled something down his shirt and now he's on live YouTube. Hey, but we don't care, do we? Yes, that is Basket Hill broadsword that you can see in the background. Chris, uh, is there a way to inform the 200 odd people who are subscribed to this channel that you're live via YouTube, Bob? Well, I don't know. If anybody else knows how, that would be good. Obviously, the only way this works is by people sharing it with other people. And the more people share it, the more it gets out there. I post, as most of you guys have noticed, every day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as sending texts and messages out to people. So other than actually doing that, I don't see what more we can do other than send people death threats, I guess. Now I'll probably get shut down for using those two words. But it is a funny one. How do you get an audience? You know, I know when I was on Kerrang, our audience was generated by the amount of publicity that Kerrang has as a radio station, so they were everywhere. They had a huge marketing machine, whereas they're just me and a bloke down in Worthing, and that's it. I wanted to ask a bit about traditional therapy and how it keeps you in your problems. Well, as I'm not a traditional therapist, and I'm assuming by that you mean traditional counselling type therapy, what I believe, and this is just my belief, and it's been borne out in practice, for a small percentage of people, talking therapies do work if you've got a good counsellor, if you've got somebody who understands communication. The problem is a lot of these counsellors have done these courses, got the certificate, and then they just go out and counsel people and just listen, but offer very little in the way of practical advice. It's not even advice, because I don't give advice, as you know, Charles. What I do is I use actual techniques. So the way I approach it, where NLP approaches it, and more what we call provocative therapies approach it, is by listening first of all to the communication you're getting, both verbal and non-verbal. Then extrapolating information from that, you try and clean the language up. In other words, what is it they're actually saying in terms of their subjective view of the world, visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, olfactory and gustatory, the five senses. Did they make pictures? What do they do with those pictures? Did they move them close or far away? Because these all have an impact on the way we respond emotionally to a situation. In traditional therapy, you tend to talk about the problem a lot. And I remember working in eating disorders, and a lot of the people I worked with were essentially forced to relive their traumatic experiences over and over again. For one or two people, that might work. For most people, it didn't seem to work. So that's when I would come in and do some stuff using an LP in a very sensitive manner in order to get the right response. And remember, in the way I work, if something I'm doing doesn't work, I do something else. Sadly, what a lot of people do is when they start doing something, it doesn't work, they blame the client. So the client is resistant to change. I hear that a lot, even still to this day, which I find odd. So that's the way my therapy differs, if you want to call it my therapy. The way I work with people. I don't even call it therapy. I just say I'm working with people. Because I found CBT had me obsessing. Yeah, CBT can do that. CBT, and again, if anybody else is listening, they might be at odds with what I'm saying here, but CBT is so similar to aspects of NLP. It's like a poor man's NLP, if you like. But there's some bad NLP practitioners. Don't get me wrong here. It's you know, it's not always the style that's important. It's the person using the style. We say that in martial arts, don't we? It's not the martial art that's a good fighter. It's the guy. It's the guy or the girl in them that's doing it that makes a difference about their determination, their intent, and so on. In therapy, it's that, have you got that attitude of curiosity that will not be sated? So that's your goal so far, as to get into the ideas of the patient, into their heads, as it were, learn to read their map, no matter how long it takes. And once you've got that map, you can help them navigate through it. And that's the problem with a lot of therapies. They spend far too much time asking why. I like to spend time asking how and get to it very quickly. Justin's on now. I thought he would be on. Yeah, CBT's a funny one. I know one or two people have found it useful, but when it's if the practitioner is has lousy communication skills, then you're not, no matter what you do, I don't care if it's NLP and you crap at communication, you're not going to get the outcome that the client desires. And remember, it's the outcome the client desires, not the outcome the therapist wants. And that's another thing I'm at odds with some of the therapies I've seen. Yeah, I think it goes a bit into searching for a truth. Yeah, I've always at odds with searching for truth. I mean, what is truth? There's a fascinating concept. There's, truth is what is at the moment in time, at this moment in time, if you want to call it truth. And the other big philosophical question is, what is knowledge? You know, it seems people get trapped in all of these concepts and ideas. A bit like the archetypes that I started talking about at the beginning of tonight. The archetypes are labels. We love labels as humans. We love to stick labels on things and then believe they're real, that they actually are real labels, when in fact they're not. They're just assignations we've given to a specific thing in order for us to communicate the idea. And of course, when I say depression, it means something completely different to you guys when I say depression. For example, if you're a meteorologist, that's what a depression's a different thing to somebody who's in psychotherapy. Or depression to a map reader, a cartographer. It's a completely different thing. Same word, but it has many different meanings. There's a lot of ambiguity in language. And you often hear this when people are talking in conversation with you. You'll hear them use words from their map. We need to listen actively. You've got two of these, one of these. Listen to the language patterns. Listen to the structure. Listen to what they're telling you in terms of the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. With their five senses. That's how we extrapolate information. And once we've got that information, we give it back to the client. We give it back to them in a form that they can utilize, that they can use. So it's about determining people's strategies. How do they do what they did? How did you get depressed? How did you get unhappy? How did you get happy? How did you learn to shoot that rifle so well? You look at it, you just break it down, and you can teach other people. I do it with Thai boxing. How did you throw a great punch, but you've got a crap kick? Let's look at what was going on when you threw the great punch. Oh, I see. So you saw the picture this big and it was moving. And you saw yourself outside the picture and you got a feeling in your chest. Oh, when you do the kick, it's a feeling in your legs. And the picture's this small and it's down it. There's a lot going on, okay? And that's not the only way you can work, but it's a basic example of how you can use some simple NLP techniques to help people achieve their outcomes. Remember, that's all we're looking for, an outcome. I don't go, well, I want a positive outcome or a negative outcome. It's just an outcome. I want to see what the outcome is. Don't judge it, and then see how that makes the client feel. Because I'm not going to place my own model of the world on theirs. How they judge things is going to be different to me. That's the key. CBT, a bit like mindfulness? Nope, not really. No. It's a good question, Chris, but no. Oh, and Stu's back. Yay! Stu, we've been asking about you. You and Tom McLaughlin. Where have you both been? I've just been speaking to Tom as it happens. Just been online to him about half an hour ago. So, yeah, Tom's doing well, and it's good to see you back, Stu. He's been super busy this past few weeks, and what you're implying by that is I haven't. Terrible man. I've never stopped. I'm working now more than ever before. Right, so, and you got to go in 10 minutes. Oh, Colgate. Tell them to flush their toothpaste down the loo, mate. You can do better than Colgate. Ping! Remember what we do with a toothbrush, mate. So Justin's on board. Yeah, I'm going to have a chat with Justin about doing a podcast with him. I think he'd be a good candidate for a podcast, talking about Thai boxing, working the doors, and being an itinerant doorman in the valleys of South Wales. If you're up for it, just say yes, and I'll give you a call later on. Anyway, you're on my list of people to do a podcast with. If you're up for it, let's do it. And guys, if any of you know anybody else who would like to do a podcast, who've got an interesting story to share, please tell me. I'm now looking at physical and mental strength. Okay, might be a bit of publicity for you, Stu. I'll do a podcast with you. You've got an interesting story to share, and we can talk about it in terms of everything, basically. So, just out of curiosity, guys, if you haven't seen my podcast, it's on YouTube. It's called the HIGHERWAY podcast. or if you go on Podbean, it's an audio podcast. And I've done the first one with a hypnotherapist and memory man. I just spoke to him earlier today, and he's just memorised 2 packs of cards, shuffled obviously, not in order. That'd be quite easy. But he shuffled 2 packs of cards and then memorised them. Bam, bam, bam. Very good. Good old Craig. Right, Charles, so what are you going to talk about? If you've got a really good subject and you want to talk about it in a podcast, you've got something that fires people's imagination and helps them achieve whatever it is they want to achieve, I'd be interested in talking to you. So far, I've had a hypnotherapist and memory man on, he's in his 40s now. He's been doing it a long time. I'll have a guy called Ben Cardall, who's he's got thousands of subscribers. I think 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's a deductionist, like a mentalist guy. I've just recorded Gavin Hedges, who was telling us about his life in Thailand and on the streets in London as a homeless person. I'm going to have Graham Leggett on. I'm going to get Justin. I'm determined to get Justin on. He's a chief instructor for Wales, so he should be on. I'm going to get a comedian off the London circuit, Simon Bly, who's a really funny guy. He's also a karate guy. And I'm making attempts to get Andy Austin on. He would be a great guest to have on. And I've got a world BJJ Jiu-Jitsu champion coming on who worked on the doors and he's a bit of a character, let's just say that. So quite an interesting lineup. So I'm not very photogenic, mind. Well, we can do it as an audio podcast, but I'd rather do it face to face on Zoom. And we can, all the girls will love you anyway. You might not think you're photogenic, but my missus does. That's not good, is it? So anyway, so maybe we should get a picture of Justin from somewhere. Yeah, that'd be a good story, Charles. How you went from surviving to living at a Russell Group university. True? Yeah. Good to talk about your background and how you fought against, you know, all the odds, as they say, like us working class people do, and show people that actually people have to struggle sometimes to get to university, and not because of the academic qualification, but just because of society and the restrictions it places on people, especially women, and particularly black women. And Charles made a really important point about the BLM movement and about the place of women in it, which was really fascinating. It made me think, and I know quite a few of the guys were saying to me it made them think differently about the whole thing. So it's about changing perspectives, isn't it? As a man, it's so easy to just see it from a man's map of the world. And I do work my hardest to see it from both sides. Or from a human perspective, to be perfectly honest. So, ask Jane, she has a picture on her purse. Yeah, very good. Very good, Justin. I like that. Yeah. So, we've got 5-6 people on. It's about the same as last week, to be perfectly honest. We've never reached the dizzying heights of 13, have we? Although a few people have said they're going to come on a bit later, which is fine. So, looks like I've got a list of people for the podcast. Some more people. So I've got a lot of work on because obviously we record the podcast and then I have to edit it to make sure it's palatable and that it's within the hour anyway. And so far I've had to do very little editing, but it's got a nice intro. It's got a lovely track and you'll have your name in the credits. And if you have friends to share it with, share the shit out of it. Because that's the only way I'm going to get this moving, this whole ballpark going. Because to be perfectly honest, we've been doing this, me and Murray have been working on this web stuff for nearly 4 months now. And sometimes feels like you're treading on water. You're just treading water, just keeping afloat. And the idea is to keep that momentum going until more and more people join. Because I know what will happen. It'll be like when I used to have the gym, the first time I had the gym back in 90, there was hardly anybody used to come into it. And that went on for nearly 6 months. And then eventually the word got round that I did exist, that I was in South Birmingham. And luckily I was writing for Combat magazine at the time, so I was able to get a little bit of publicity. And I guess it's the same with working on the internet. And nowadays there's so much more. There's so many more people out there doing this sort of thing. So you've got to, I guess you've got to be different. I don't know, do it naked, do it in a Geordie accent. And I don't want to sell out and become a muck dojo or a muck live stream, which would be pretty easy. I want to keep the standard of it relatively high, you know. I want to ensure that the standards are kept, darling. But it would be nice to have more than 4 subscribers on the HIGHERWAY podcast. So if you haven't gone on the HIGHERWAY podcast, which I have been advertising all over the internet, you need to subscribe to it tonight, guys. You would make an old Geordie man very, very happy. So have we still got this 30-second delay, guys, or has it caught up? I'm going to count down the seconds. That's 10 seconds. That's 20 seconds. So we're going to see how long this delay is. And we're almost up to the 30 seconds. So you guys are going to experience a big gap in what I'm going to say and what I've just said. Yeah, there you go. That's almost 30 seconds now. And nobody's come up in the comments box. So yep, there you go. There you go. That was 30 seconds, Charles. So, look at this. That's not very professional as an actor. You would think I'd get this sorted out. I spoke too soon, lol. There is a delay. Yeah, we know, Chris. Everybody who uses this platform and uses YouTube has a problem with latency. It's where the system has to buffer and then catch up. But maybe I should start. Would it work if I started 30 seconds later? Who knows? No, I wouldn't, obviously. So, what have you guys been up to? I mean, there's only 5 of you on. I mean, me and Tom were talking about some interesting stuff about how people build up expectations. Justin says the delay on the smart TV and the laptop, but the phone is okay. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Okay, so I wonder if I can do this without causing some sort of bizarre problem with feedback loops or anything like that. Because if I go on my YouTube channel, I was watching a guy do it earlier on today when I was trying to work out why this has this delay, and it's quite common. So if I take a look at the prior pitch eye, I should be able to watch the live feed. Well, I think I can. I'm not sure. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Yeah, well, according to this, it is live at the moment. This has this delay, and it's quite common. So if I take a look at the prior pitch eye, I'm actually watching this. Watch the live feed. Well, I think I can. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, that's weird. Yeah, because it is virtually instantaneous on the phone. There's hardly any delay at all on the phones, and yet on laptops and smart TVs there is. That's weird. That is really weird. So I'm assuming you should all watch it on your phone. I'm assuming some of you might be watching it on your phone. I mean, I literally just looked on my phone, and I don't know whether it's because these are linked, but yeah, weird. It's a strange old world, the world of the internet. Me and Murray were talking about that today, how just shit comes up and just you do all the right things, but the wrong things happen. I have no idea about any of it, to be honest. Anyway, what is the coming weeks going to offer you? Well, obviously tomorrow night we have the Thai boxing session, as always, at 6 o'clock. We're getting about 8 to 10 people, which isn't bad. I've been in the gym filming, elbows and hands, which is why I can barely walk now today. So I've got a set of instructional videos on elbows and the use of elbows, the ranges elbows work. I'm going back in the gym again next Tuesday to film even more stuff. Hopefully you're going to enjoy watching that and learn something from it. And also on the 26th, I'm doing a meditation seminar. Now, I'm aware that 1 or 2 of you on this group have done my original meditation seminar. You're welcome to come on it, or get one of your pals to come on it. In fact, if you get one of your pals to come on it, you can have a 50% discount. If they want to come and join the course, you'll get a discount on the course. So for those that have done it before, get on it again. 50% discount, only a tenner, and sign up one of your friends. You know, we all know that people seem to need this stuff. People keep telling us that, don't they? You see all over the internet. Oh yeah, I must do the meditation. I must come to a meditation group. But it's a bit like most promises. You know, they're pretty hollow things. Most people find something else to do. And I live on by the philosophy that I'm not going to try to do something. I'll either do it or I won't do it. And I think Justin runs his own club down in South Wales, and he has the same problem with students. They'll often tell you, they'll come along for their first session. I'll try and get to the next one. I'm going to be a champion. And you never see them again. Whereas the ones who just come in and get on with it, they just do it and they train and get their heads down. They're the ones who give you the surprise, because usually a few months down the line you notice them and they turn around and say, oh, I'd like to be able to fight, is that okay? And those are the ones that usually turn into great fighters. No bullshit, basically. They just get on with it. So if you guys can, you know, I mean, I know there's only a few of us on tonight. It's pretty dire actually, but I'm happy to talk to you, obviously. And we've been on for 30 minutes now. It would be good to just share this stuff. I know I keep repeating that. So, what are we going to talk about, guys? I know we've got a 30-second delay, so Justin might be catching up. Charles might be catching up. Stu's gone because Colgate makes him work too hard. The joys of having a job, just over broke. That's what JOB stands for. Yeah, what I was talking about at the beginning was, yeah, basically that Jung subdivided these different personality types into archetypes, into Jungian, what he called archetypes. There was the hero, the trickster, the clown, the mother, the father, and these were labels given to people, assignations, if you like. But I was saying that I'm not a big fan of anything that labels people. And it's so easy to make assumptions about people when you give them the label. And of course, you've got to live up to those labels as well. In fact, one of my blog posts that I did on the HIGHERWAY Code blog was about Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And that talks about and uses archetypes in the language. And if you have a look at it, we've got the mentor and we've got entering the cave. You know, the cave is quite an important symbol in Jungian psychology. Basically, I don't know enough to go into real depth about archetypes, other than I know it's a label, and I'm not a big fan of labeling because they can often cause negative anchors, negative states in people. And they can do the opposite, of course, create positive states. I think you've got to be careful with these things. And then subdividing people into different personality types. Really? I think it would be all context related. I mean, I know I could be the hero archetype in one situation, but I'd probably be the coward in another one. Who knows? Oh, Justin, I'm trying to get my young lady to get on the course. She really struggles with meditation, but for some reason she doesn't want me to help her. No, that's quite common. Tell her to jump on the course, man. Just say, Bob will look after you. I've got a picture of her in my wallet. So, touche. So, yeah, there's a game series, Shin Megami Tensei, that bases itself off on Jung's philosophy. It uses mythical and historical figures as personas. Yeah, oh, right, okay. Because, of course, you know I used to do motion capture. Have I ever told you that? Probably. I've done over 60 games. I've never, but obviously, I haven't heard of Shin Megami Tensei. I don't know what that game is. I don't play the games, incidentally. Yeah, Jung says you're a mix between the innocent child and the Joker. Yeah, actually, that sounds good. Sounds very good. Yeah, the innocent child and the Joker. Okay, so if you were to subdivide yourself in arc, what would you be? I'd be the mentor and the hero, or the knob and the Geordie. Is there an archetype, the Geordie? There should be. If there isn't a Geordie archetype, there is now. It's somebody who is daft as a brush, who takes chances, and you can't understand. There you go. I've just created an archetype. Is it part of the collective unconscious, though? That's the thing, you see. Because I believe in order to qualify as an archetype, you've got to qualify as it's a collective thing. And it can be seen in other cultures, I believe, like the Greek culture, the Minoan cultures, the Roman cultures, the Egyptian culture, the South American culture of the Incas and the Aztecs, and the cultures of the Celts, possibly of Eastern and Western Europe, and of course the Indian states in North America. I think they have to fit into all of these cultural things. So you will always have the innocent child could apply to any culture, as could the mentor, the clown, the joker, the trickster. Geordie definitely is an archetype. Geordie Shaw spread it to the collective. Oh, there you go, Geordie Shaw. Me and Murray were talking about Geordie Shaw today, actually. Strangely enough, and asked me if I'd seen Geordie Shaw, and I thought, no, our friendship is on thin ice now. But no, I genuinely haven't watched Geordie Shaw because I guess I was going to say it puts Geordies across in a bad light, but maybe that's not strictly true. Maybe that's actually what Geordies actually are like. Well, there certainly is what they're seen as now, because if I talk to anybody in Birmingham, they go, "Oh, you're a Geordie, like, all right, you're a Geordie. Oh, you're the same as Geordie Shaw. Where do you come from?" Oh dear. And that's when my accent changes. I say, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm from Newcastle. Not one of those Mackhams or a Tyneside sand dancers. I'm actually English. I'm from Swindon." Well, I'm not, no. Oh yeah, we said the Geordie Boar, more like. Yeah, the Geordie Boar. Yeah, Geordie Boar. I could become the Geordie Boar. Listen to Bob bore you shitless like by talking about the shipyards and the docks and how he lived by the River Tyne as it flowed from its clean, I was going to say, its clean spring, wherever that is, up in the hills in Hexham, all the way through to the dirty mouth of the Tyne. In fact, the Tyne is no longer dirty. It's one of the cleanest rivers in Europe, I believe. And there's in fact salmon back in that river. In the 70s, when I was a child, it was brown. In fact, rather than drown, you would break your ankle on it if you landed in it. It was that bad. It looked like pea soup. It was horrendous. But there was a lot of industry on the river, and it's amazing how quickly it's cleaned up because it's sparkling now. What I thought uni life would be like as a 15-year-old. What? Oh, Geordie Shaw was. What? What I thought uni life would be. I might be catching up here, Charles. I do apologise. I do apologise. Did you think uni life was going to be like Geordie Shaw? Well, if you did a drama degree, you would. Although drama was quite a precious sort of degree, to be honest. There was a lot of very upper middle class kids there. And I just come literally out of the military, out of a working class background, into this bizarre world of middle class people with names like Miffy and Piffy and Poffy and Toff and Tad and things. I felt a bit out of it actually, but I didn't. I fitted in well actually. They all had more money than me, obviously. Quite a few of them came from wealthy families. Although, if any of them do hear this, they will know that, and they know who they are. I had quite, working class backgrounds like me. Not many, not many. So that was about Geordie Shaw. Yeah, I made that connection, Charles. Thanks very much. So 40 minutes on the clock almost. Give and take 30 seconds either way. So I managed to gabble on about nothing really for the last 40 minutes. Yeah, you were surprised at uni how well behaved all of them were. Yeah, unlimited money to spend on booze. That's true that. And yet, well, back in my day, you see, you didn't pay for education because we didn't let the government of that time do such a stupid thing. Obviously, that all changed. and now you have to pay for education, which is not a good thing. Unless, of course, you live in bonnie Scotland, where you don't have to pay. At least they're standing by their welfare state principles. I mean, I've been talking about Scotland quite a lot, and quite frankly, I'd rather live there than live in England. And not because half of me Scottish. I'm not going to tell you which half. The half that's under the kilt. But quite seriously, the Scottish education system's not perfect, but it's certainly better than the UK. How you can end up getting straddled with so much debt after 3 or 4, or if you're doing a medical degree, 5 years, is beyond a joke. And I know people say, oh, but the interest is not too bad and you only have to start paying it. You shouldn't have to pay anything. But nobody will stand up. You need a movement of young people standing up and saying, look, this is wrong. COVID. Yeah, just watch it. At my age, it's very dangerous. I'll be honest as well, Charles, people weren't very well behaved in the drama degree. It depends what you mean by behaviour, of course. Right, what I thought, Chris has said the Black Midden. The Black Midden is a series of rocks that runs around Tynemouth in the mouth of the River Tyne, and ships would often get sort of wrecked on these rocks. I remember seeing 2, I think, on the Middens. I think I'm right in saying that. When I was up in the northeast, when I was a boy, I remember seeing a ship beached. It was actually on the beach, and I saw another couple of ships over the time I was up there on the Middens, on the rocks themselves. One was in recent history, the 70s, probably early 80s, and another one was obviously when I was a young lad in the 50s. I vaguely remember it. And the Black Middens, yeah, funny line of rocks, like striated rocks that run out into the river, because the river is quite shallow in places. And I remember I used to watch the dredgers dredge in the harbour to make sure the ships could get in through the piers. South Shields, jewel of the northeast. Well, the coastline's nice, and the fish and chips are nice. But Shields has got very little to offer now, either in the way of jobs or culture, in fact. So there was my 30-second delay. I managed to fill that in. Nobody's come up with a comment. So, 42 minutes on the clock, and I don't even have any adverts to put in. That's what I should do. I should sort of adverts in. Here's an advert. Yeah, come online on Zoom. 26th of July. Seminar with yours truly. All singing, all dancing. You'll even get a handbook, which he's just finished writing almost, and a recording of the seminar for your delight and delectation at a later date. Book now and don't delay. Limited numbers only. There you go. There's an advert. Not a particularly brilliant advert, I must admit, but it was an advert nevertheless. I have done adverts. I did a beer commercial once. That was embarrassing. Luckily, it was back in the 80s. Well, I was young and I had hair, which of course I don't have now. So the world of Thai boxing runs on regardless. People are, what's the time and duration of the course? We start at 2 p.m. and finish around about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Quite a lot of stuff, different approaches to meditation, including a new Hellenistic method. It's not really meditation, but it's an interesting way to do it, which I want to share with everybody based on what I've been involved in the past couple of years and has come to fruition over the past few months. Yeah, it is what it is. It's an introductory seminar to meditation. I always find them, I like teaching them, and people seem to get a lot out of it. And it would be just a case of ensuring that people come along and take part. They're short, different types of meditation, so you'll be able to pick. By the end of it, you'll go, oh, actually, that one I found good. or easy, or more preferable to me, or my mindset. So you get a couple of choices, Justin. So yeah, a lot of different approaches, and hopefully she'll come along. Get her to sign up. In fact, what you need to do is get her email address, and then we can put her on the newsletter list, so she can be updated. If she misses this one, she can do another one. Nigel. Right, okay, Nigel. Nigel Anthony. He's interested in doing a podcast. Another student of mine who went on to great things, got involved in lots of protection stuff, became Golden Gloves champion in Savate, which is a French martial art, and also is involved in, I'm not sure, he's involved in stick and knife fighting as well. Really good guy, actually. And yeah, and we've had my mate Dave Perks, who's an actor in Doctors, has just come on, and he's not aware of the live stream. I don't know whether he knows anything about these sort of things, but we'll find out. We can see if we can get him on. He's quite a well-known actor from the Midlands. I went to university with him. He's currently in Doctors. That's the series on BBC. He's been in it for about 8 years, actually. So I'm going to get him to try and join us and see if he's got anything to add to the conversation. So I'm telling him to check it out, Dave. Yeah, come on, Dave. He used to be an old judo guy as well. An old judo guy who moved into Thai boxing with me when he came to Birmingham University. So could be an interesting guy. I mean, we've got 47 minutes on the clock. We've only got a short period of time left now. It's a shame we didn't get any more. We had 6 at one point, and now we've got 5. I don't know. If anybody knows how to publicise these things, please, please, please tell me. I don't think I can do any more than I'm doing, but it would be good to have a bigger audience. We had, I think, 1.5 million on Kerrang. So I've gone from being on air to 1.5 million people on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night to 5. Now, some people would see that as a failure. Well, there is no failure, there's just feedback. Remember that. So I just have to think of you guys as there being 5 million of you. All different archetypes, of course, of each personality. So we've got probably about 50 or 60 people online. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to do these. We'll be doing them every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. But if you can publicise them, that would be great. Yeah, Justin was saying, strange how you used to get better numbers during a lunchtime. I thought there'd be more of an evening. I'd like to have your thoughts on that, guys. You know, would this be better suited to an afternoon? But I remember we got about 13, 14 people on in an afternoon. And then, strangely enough, the weather got warm and we had a terrible one. When the weather changed, I remember, I think it's because I think I made a decision to have it of an evening because obviously people wouldn't be taking advantage of the sunny days. Well, maybe we should go back. I don't know. What is the answer? Maybe we should. Who knows? I have no idea. I know consistency is an important criteria whenever you're advertising or doing anything really. You know. And Gunny's just good old Dave's just tuned in. That's why I've jumped to 7. So welcome aboard, Dave. It's Bob. Bob on live stream, mate. Put a comment in the comment box. I've just been talking about you. Actor, raconteur, wit, ex-karate man turned Thai boxer turned drama student turned actor. Welcome aboard, Dave. I do these every Wednesday night, mate. You should come on board and listen to me talk shit for about an hour. And we've got another 10 minutes left, actually, and then we'll probably go off air. So you got in just at the right time. And there's also, Dave, if you're watching it on a laptop or a computer, there's probably a 30-second delay. So let me know how you're doing, Dave, and that should be interesting. And I was just saying to everybody as well, Dave, share the shit out of it. Share it with everybody you know. My podcast, live stream. I've also got a podcast, is what I meant to say. I've got a podcast on Podbean and on YouTube now. So you might want to check that out, where I do me Michael Parkinson, basically, Dave, where I'm interviewing people. You know, interviewing people. When's Doctors coming back on telly, mate? Or they're filming? I'm sure they are. Does anybody else on here watch Doctors? You should do. Dave's on it. Dave Perks. As I say, actor, raconteur, wit. Polymath? Polyglot? Well, he's learning different languages. Okay, we're getting a bit of dead air there, which is never good. So you may have seen the t-shirt, All of Life is Our Temple, treeleaf.org. Oh, you need a Google Mail account to comment, Dave. If you haven't got a Gmail account, Dave, you won't be able to comment, sadly. So open a Gmail account if you haven't already got one. I'm not sure what your account is, mate, but we had problems with this last week. So make sure you get a Google Mail account. So you'll have to dperks@gmail.com or something like that, or googlemail.com. Yeah, somebody else had problems putting comments on last week. It's a bit frustrating. It's YouTube. That's the way these things work, sadly. So that's probably why you're not commenting, Dave, rather than just ignoring me. So, yeah, just switching accounts so I can comment. Oh, Dave, see, now Dave's proactive. Be like Dave. Oh, Kay's finally come on. We wondered where you were. Where have you been, Kay? Unbelievable. 30-second delay, mate. Where have you been? Wait 30 seconds, Kay will answer. You've missed a bit of stuff on archetypes and so on. So everybody's saying hi to Kay now. Good old Kay. Kay's in Belgium. Kay's a biologist. Kay's a mad swordsman. And of course, he's a Thai boxer. When he was working at the University of Birmingham, teaching there as a biologist, when his fleas were in space on the ISS, he... Oh, you can comment if you sign up to YouTube as well. Ah, right, okay. So there we go. Oh, we had a magpie situation. They were all over the house. Just for those that don't know, Kay has 2 pet magpies. He's the dad to a male and female magpie who sit on his shoulders, who fly around the house and obviously fly around outside. He saved them from a fate worse than death in the garden on a windy evening where they were blown out of their nest. So he's a magpie father and he's Belgian and he loves playing with swords. And we haven't even mentioned swords tonight until you came on, Kay. We didn't mention McBain. We haven't mentioned anybody like Lonergan or Matthewson. And look at that, I'm mentioning them all now. They're all coming out of the woodwork. So if you've got a sword and you would like a sword, we can talk about swords. But I know most of you don't like talking about swords. It's just a Kay and Bob thing. I love this delay. It's literally exactly 30 seconds. But there you go. But I promise you, for next week, guys, I will be sorting out the latency. So we've got another message here. Who's this? Oh, switching accounts. I would still need a Gmail account to sign in. Yeah, probably. So, how's everybody managing with lockdown? That's what I want to know. I'm still skint, but enjoying myself because I've got lots to do. Not doing as obviously anything in the gym at the moment. I was in the gym yesterday filming, and Kay is already into some sword talk. He loves his little small sword. Go on, tell me you've bought a new sword. I know you will in 30 seconds time. I'm sure you will. I haven't, obviously. Those days have gone until I get some work in. Oh, Justin, I'm on Hotmail, just signed up to YouTube. All right, there you go, you can. So you can sign in with Hotmail. And Hotmail's a funny one, because I know we send stuff out to Hotmail accounts and it always goes into spam. I'm Paul. Paul's got a Swiss Army knife. Does that count as a sword? It's sort of. You call that a knife? This is what you call a knife, Paul. That's a knife. See, that's a knife. Not now. Will I get thrown off YouTube live streaming for sure? No, it's just a weapon. Scholar Gladiatoria wave weapons around all the time, and Scalagrim. There are a couple of sword YouTubers who buy and sell swords. So if you thought that was a big knife, I mean, you wanna move to this one, and that's a Scottish dirk. So that's even bigger. It's actually called a bollock dagger. I think I showed it to you guys last week because it's got bollocks. Look. And that's a bollock dagger. That's a beautiful weapon. And then, of course, let's not leave the other cultures out, because we've got a traditional darb as well. There you go, a darb from the Budai Sawan Temple, nonetheless. It's an pretty old training sword, two-handed and single-handed. So there you go, bit of sword porn for care. I know you guys in Ghent love your sword porn, and here it is. So Dave's here. Look at that picture. What a fine figure of a man. Kay said, I was looking into those training sabers and I lost all my social skills, but that started before the lockdown. Yeah. So the training sabers, are we talking about the Matt Easton Mark III? Because I just happen to have one of those. Don't call him David, his name's Dave. Or Mr. Perks to you, Chris. Mr. Perks. Hope you're doing well, Dave. Glad you could join us. We do this every Wednesday, Dave, as I've said. So get your backside online and add to the flavour of the conversation. No holds barred, any topics. Me being as enigmatic as I possibly can. Trying to run a live stream on YouTube with a 30-second delay. Story of my life, the old delay. You know what I'm talking about, Dave. So you see, it's a big family now. Say hello to Dave. Yay, the Mark III. Yeah, and I've got one of them as it happens. We'll just show you the Mark III. It's over here. And as you can hear by all the chinking and clanking, there's a lot of them. There's the Mark III. There's the Mark III saber. Dave, you're going to love that. Look at the detail on that. Lovely detail on there. The knurling. And that is covered in oil, obviously. And there you go. My training saber. Marvellous bit of kit. That's a Matt Easton Mark III saber, for those that want to know. It's not cheap and it comes from Russia. An armory in Russia called Kvitin Armory makes them. There's an advert for Kvitin Armory. I was so pleased. But that's a training saber, so that's when you're training. They're pretty painful though if it hits you. You have to wear helmets and a mask, fencing mask. Obviously. We also train with synthetic swords, wooden swords, as well as plastic synthetic stuff. I have a classic sword, but we don't use that for training. That's purely because I love it. I think the average age of the Q&A live stream visitors increased 10 to 20 years. We lost all the young attendants. Swords for us oldies. Yeah. Swords are for the oldies. That's true. But we still got 7 people on. So Charles is still on, I'm assuming. And so is Tina. And Tina likes an odd sword or two. She's got a penchant for the old sword. I don't know what I meant by that, Tina, but I have known you a long time, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, me and Tina go back a long way. Not as long as Dave, though. I've known Dave since 1985, which is quite scary. And in fact, I think Dave was responsible for doing the lighting on my final year practical in 1987, doing my drama degree. Let's not talk about that, Dave. The unusual times. It was needed for the part, I believe. But yeah, so I've known Dave a long time. Not as long as I've known one of the others, on one or two of the others actually, including Justin and Chris. Yeah, we go back even further than that. So yeah, likes an odd sword or two. I've gone and put oil in my eye now from the sword, because I always lubricate my swords. You should always keep your sword lubricated, isn't that right? My Victorian sword is, well, it's actually Georgian, just before Victoria's time. So it's quite an old sword, possibly used at Waterloo. We don't know, we're not sure, but it is old enough to be used then. The blade certainly is. The blade has those characteristics. It's a beautiful weapon, and it's over there on the stand, as you do. I have Japanese swords as well, but they're in the shed, believe it or not. Don't ask me why they're in the shed, but they are in the shed. My Western swords are all piled up around here. You can see one behind me, a basket hilt sword, as well as some other basket hilts here. And this is a sword from the Confederate era, believe it or not. This is I don't know whether Kay has even seen this. This is from the Confederate period. So that's a Confederate sword, which is very odd. Ah, yes. Well, all the messages are coming in now. Oh, it's really flying on. Just came across an interesting channel recently run by Todd Cutler. Medieval weapons. I'm not a big fan of medieval weapons, to be honest, Dave. Old swords. They're really old swords. But I would watch it. Tina asked Bob for a double, so he gave her one. Oh, yeah, very good. I like that. Last time I saw Justin was at an interclub in Wales when he was refereeing, and the Polish guy who was fighting kept stumbling over his own feet when moving backwards. I do remember that. His footwork was pretty atrocious, but I put it down to your superior footwork and movement, and the fact the referee kept tripping him up, because I knew the referee. But that's not true. He didn't. If the Polish guy's watching, which is unlikely, he didn't trip you up. So we've gone over the hour now, but obviously you've all started engaging with each other. So it'd be rude and remiss of me to, to switch you off, as it were. So if we've got anything else to add, that would be good. But we do this every week, Dave. You should join. I'm surprised you didn't know. It's on YouTube. It's advertised everywhere. And you like my mic, Dave? You love that. It's a condenser mic. So, and I've got a really nice camera as well up there. Because I don't like using the laptop. It's a pretty crappy camera. So as just a quick recap, guys, well, we've got the blog posts coming out this week. You just said keep moving forward, he will trip anywhere. Yeah, that was actually true. Yeah, I do believe I did say that, and he did. He tripped over. So anyway, as I was saying, what have we got coming up? Tomorrow night, Thai boxing. Thursday, 6 o'clock online on Zoom. Then Monday night next week, Thai boxing again at 6 o'clock. And Tuesday night, meditation at 6 o'clock online on Zoom. Wednesday night, YouTube, live stream 8 o'clock as always. So please tell your friends and be there. Please try and get as many people as we can. That's what we want to do. By next week, I will have sorted out this delay problem, hopefully. I'll be working on it with Murray, my web guy, and it's down to just latency when we book the session in. So I'll have to go in and put ultra low latency in, and that will speed it up for some reason. Am I going to recreate the finest moments of the Mike Pinder sextet on here? That would be quite... I don't know which ones I could do though, Dave. I'd have to set this up downstairs with a table and a cloth over it. Just so the rest of you, if none of you know, I'm sure you do. I used to be in a comedy act. In fact, I was in 3 comedy acts, to be honest. Started off as the Vajrapani brothers in 84, 85. Then that was too expensive. There was 5 of us in that act called the Vajrapani brothers. We then developed a 3-man act called Reg Catamol Stole Me Pig. And we went on, we did that up until 87, maybe 88. And then we became the Mike Pinder Sextet. And from there we went on a meteoric rise to stardom, fame and glory, working the London circuit and the various festivals and university gigs that were going at that period, doing our final gig in 2001 at Leicester University. And that was the end of the Mike Pinder Sextet, sadly. And I only gave up on it because I didn't have the time. And it wasn't making any money. Comedy wasn't pretty in those days. although it was a lot of fun. So yeah, Chris has said Tuesday meditation group. I did say that. Yeah, remember Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, we have the meditation group as always. On the 26th, though I'm just repeating myself, 26th meditation seminar. Please come, make an old man very wealthy. Yeah, let him feed his dog and his fish and his rabbits. That's the key thing. He's got rabbits that need feeding. So I'll help him with these rabbits. So, I will try and recreate a Mike Pinder sextet thing, but as I say, I will have to get somebody else in. And I would have to do the melon thing on the penis, wouldn't I? Because that's a big feature of the Mike Pinder sextet. The Jekyll and Hyde, the synchronized drinking, and of course the good old melon on the penis quiz, Big Bobby's Booby Prize giveaway, which you don't want to miss. Particularly the anagram round, which was surreal. Like I say, comedy was not pretty in those days. If anybody's got any other questions after the 30-second delay, I wait here with bated breath, and I can't wait to see what comes next. Synchronized drinking, Dave said. Yeah, I mentioned synchronized drinking. I love the old synchronized drinking. Now, I know for a fact someone somewhere has got a video of one of the gigs that we did down in Southampton, I think, and that included the synchronized drinking and included the Jekyll and Hyde, and included the see what I'm doing there. Included the Big Bobby's Booby Prize giveaway, including the moment with the sword. In fact, I've got some film of a gig we did in Harborne, but what didn't come out very well, sadly. Mad Sean Sides was the anagram round. Mad Sean Sides is in fact the answer to the anagram Haddam Susain. The anagram round is the name of a really important guy, lots of sand and possibly a tank or two. And the name on the card was Haddam Susain. Obviously, the guy from the audience said Saddam Hussein because he was in the news at the time. But in fact, it wasn't. He got it wrong. It was Mad Sean Sides. And Kay's already seen some of those things. Yeah, hilarious. Thanks very much, Kay. I thought it was hilarious, which is why I did it. And it still makes me smile when I think how much we actually got away with in those days. Thousands of gigs. It would be great to get Howard on here, who was my oppo. He was, because we were a two-man act, advertised as the only double act with two straight men. Or zany, crazy Geordie humour. The fact I was a Geordie and he was from Lancashire had nothing to do with it. It was crazy, zany Geordie humour. I think humour's probably a bit too tame for what we used to do. What was your favourite part then, Kay? He says, waiting 30 seconds patiently for the time to go by. Be an interesting way to do this. If I just stay really still, you guys would think the picture had frozen, but it hadn't. And the 30 seconds are coming up now, so I'm expecting an answer from one of you guys from that question. No. So it might be taking more than 30 seconds, or you've all given up on me now. So we've got 8 people on board now. So I wonder who the 8 actually is. I hope it's somebody new that's joined us. So maybe we just need to go over the hour a little bit and pull another few people in. Do you know what I mean? It could be. It could be. It could be. So I've got like this bizarre thing in the corner. That was funny. There was a crazy... I saw some of those things. There was a crazy Geordie part. No, all of it was Geordie. And it was all funny. Charther Christmas, yeah. It might have been Charther Christmas, actually. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it very most likely was Charther. Yeah. I think there was another one. I think it was something like Bonnie Clare, which was Tony Blair, obviously, and I can't remember. Probably Target. Mahacha. Who knows? We were a bit weird in those days. I remember we did gigs once with Billy Bragg, Elvis Costello. It was called the Red Wedge Tour. It was a proper bunch of communists, and that was fun. Very politically correct as well, if I remember. In fact, we got barred from Merry Hill Shopping Centre because we were booked to do like a street theatre thing, and it was like against South African politics. This particular sketch we did, and the conglomerate was owned by the South Africans, and somebody saw us and went, "What are you doing?" and chucked us out. And we also did the Grand Prix that used to be on in Birmingham. We actually did street acts while the racing cars were going round. It was totally pointless. Fat Chris Mathers, yeah, Fat Chris Mathers. I'm sure it was. Nice one, Dave. Bloody hell, you can be my biographer, mate. No, but just saying about the Grand Prix that used to run in Birmingham. It was like Monaco. It was brilliant, and I don't know why they stopped it. And we used to do a street act, which involved us juggling on unicycles, and nobody ever came and watched it because we were watching the racing, and then we go in the beer tent and just stand drinking beer, and we got paid for that. It was quite good money as well at the time. Okay, Justin, signing off, mate. Yeah, take the dogs out for a walk in between the rain, in between individual drops. Doesn't it always rain in Wales? So thanks for jumping on, Justin. And I'll text you. I'll give you a ring tomorrow about this podcast, mate, and we'll sort out a time that's convenient for you. I'd love to do one with you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Just. So Justin's leaving us. The numbers will go down to 7 in a minute, and then we'll gradually dwindle. And then we'll have to call it a night, I think. We've done an hour and 12 minutes almost. So it should be good. Oh, the Grand Prix was too expensive. Paul reckons that the reason they cancelled the Grand Prix in Birmingham was it was too expensive. It brought a lot of people into the city, and I remember the pubs were rammed. So they must have made a killing. And I mean, I don't know what it cost the council, obviously, because they had to obviously change all the roads. But it was, I don't know how many years it went on for, to be honest. Don't know how long it went on for, but it seemed pretty good. I mean, me and Howard used to enjoy it because we used to get paid for doing nothing, basically. I mean, just even the thought of doing comedy on the street while there's a Grand Prix on is just madness. Everybody was either drunk or watching the cars going around the tracks, and you could hear them all over the city when they were sort of doing their practice training and stuff. Yeah, thanks, Kate. You're off as well. Tie and sword tomorrow, correct. We'll do Raworth's stuff and we'll do some McBain stuff tomorrow night. All right, Kate. I'm up for doing a bit of McBain stuff. So we're coming off the syllabus a bit, the Catran Society syllabus. We'll go through the broadsword and then we'll do some McBain. So now, thanks for coming on board tonight, Kay. Go and sort your magpies out. So unless anybody else has got anything to say, guys, I'll start to wind this down now. Let's say we'll finish at 15:15, unless more people come on board, of course. It seems like we've still got 8 people. So that's pretty good. 8 people. It would be interesting just to get any closing comments. And I've done very little about Greek philosophy tonight, which will be good. But hey, never mind. And looking forward to hopefully speaking to some of you guys soon and seeing you either tomorrow night or next week some point. 2 hours. Perhaps I should extend 2 hours on this, Bob. 2 hours. 2 hours. If I can get more people on, I would. Yeah, but I know what would happen. People would come on the last hour, and we started dead on 8. Now that's not like me. Normally, we don't start on the hour, do we? We always give it 10 minutes for people to join and then start. But with this, I spot on the dot. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks, Dave. Would you come on, Dave, next week? I'm sure you will. You haven't got a lot to do, have you? You're not filming or anything, are you? You can come in and talk about your experiences. It's a shame we can't do this as a phone in. I'm sure there's systems whereby you can do a phone in, but obviously not on YouTube. Well, you could phone in actually. Just ring me, then we could have a chat. I could talk online. I could chat. That would be good. Yeah, still going. No, Matt, you've just come on the last bit. Paul was talking about doing 2 hours. I've gone over the hour already by 15 minutes, mate. We've talked vaguely about archetypes and Jungian psychology. We talked about CBT and NLP. A tiny little bit of stuff on Pyrrho because people don't want to hear me go on about Pyrrhonism and dogmatism. We had a little sword section where we looked at swords, knives, and other combat weapons. And I mentioned Zen once, I think. I have mentioned the blog posts. I put a new blog post up on 50 Shades of Zen. I'll put that up there today. You may have seen it, I don't know. It's first part of a two-parter on the differences between Eastern methods of meditation and the Western approach to similar things, because there was no tradition, obviously, of meditation, not in the Eastern sense anyway. So I'm writing that. And I'm writing another blog post for the HIGHERWAY Code, which is the second part of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, or no, Hero with a Thousand Faces. Intrigued? Then sign up to the old blog posts. Also, Matt, you may have noticed I have a podcast as well, and I know you're going to come on as a guest. So we've got a lot of guests now, and I think I'm recording you on Saturday. Am I right? I'm sure I am. Oh, Tom. Oh, Tom's no questions, just enjoying the show. Ah, so you've been lurking, have you, Tom? Lurking in the background. And also, oh, Dev's putting some stuff up on YouTube. That I would like to see. So, Mr. Perks, go and check out Dave Perks, actor. I love that. Bob Spoyer, comedian. Dave Perks, actor. And he is an actor. He's a working actor, which is very, 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 very rare. So I think, oh, Sunday. Yeah, was it Sunday? I think. Was it Sunday? Let me just check my diary. I'm wondering if this delay's gone yet, but it doesn't appear to have done. Okay, let me just check. Was it 11 o'clock or something? 11:30, wasn't it, on Sunday? Matt, there's a 30-second delay. 11:30, give it 30 seconds and we'll wait. Just confirm 11:30 or 12 o'clock with me, Matt, and I'll put you in the diary just to confirm it, like, because I've got loads of them on now. I'm like the Michael Parkinson of podcasting. I'm going to have lots of guests on. Oh, the Barry Bigelow channel. There actually is a Barry Bigelow channel. Everybody should check that out and sign up to the Barry Bigelow channel. That's Dave's character in Doctors. He plays the character Barry Bigelow, who's a security guard. Madcap, zany, sometimes poignant moments he has, sometimes a bit of melancholy, sometimes tragedy, particularly when his missus dumps him at the altar. Boo-hoo. Dealing with drug dealers, and lots of other things. There's funny stuff and sad stuff. It's basically Dev, but Barry Bigelow. That's unkind. It's very good, Dev. So go and watch the Barry Bigelow channel. Sign up to the Barry Bigelow channel as well as the HIGHERWAY podcast. It's called the HIGHERWAY podcast. HIGHERWAY, sorry. Oh, not the highway. The HIGHERWAY podcast. It's been a long day, guys, and I'm flagging now. I remember when I used to be able to do a whole day's work at the med school, a night in the gym teaching, jump in the car, drive down to Kerrang, on the radio for 4 hours, and then go home and do the same thing the next day. And now I don't know, just getting too old for this nonsense. Or is that just some crazy belief I have? Or maybe I need to drop. Yes, I think so. Non-judging, that's the thing. So, unless anybody's got any questions, I know I keep saying this all night, it's the only way I'm going to respond. If you've got any questions, guys, I'll start wrapping it up. This t-shirt's terrible, isn't it? Look at that. Really clean t-shirt on today, and it dropped stuff all over it. But as a Geordie, I just couldn't care. Right, well, I think cheers for the plug, Bob. Only got a couple of clips up there, but more to come. Oh, and he's got a David Perks actor account. So check out the David Perks actor account on YouTube. So everybody check that out. David Perks actor. But the Barry Bigelow one will be funnier. Yeah, thanks, Tom. But I gave up all those ages ago. You only believe you're an old man, Bob. You're actually 21. It's all appearances, mate. Remember, evident and non-evident. You got to keep on that, Tom. Evident and non-evident. That's all there is. And there's no such thing as knowledge. And there's no such thing as that either. You can never be too dogmatic. Well, you can, but. And I was trying to find that theory and practice thing that Jung said, and I just can't find it. I did look. I spent a lot of time looking through a book where I thought I'd seen it, and it's a really nice quote. And I'm going to see if I can find it, because I know there's a 30-second delay here. So you'll have to excuse me while I got my head down, because I need to find this. This is something I was doing with Tom earlier on. We were talking about Pyrrhonism. Both me and Tom have been doing a lot of practical work on Pyrrhonism. And, I wanted to find a quote for him which I thought was funny and sort of summed up what we've been just talking about. And if any of you know the quote, I believe it's Jung, it'd be good. Just put it in the comments box. But oh wait, I think I might have found it. No, that was Jane Austen. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, it's a book on Pyrrhonism and Pascal and Montaigne. Oh, and there's somebody at the door there. I wonder who that is. Oh, they've come for a parcel. Oh, it's look at this. Yeah. I'm never going to find it, guys. I'm never going to find it. And the time is ticking away now. And if you just want to watch me looking down at a book, looking for a quote, that's quite ridiculous, isn't it? I'll never find this quote. When I do, I'm definitely going to post it, because it made me think, it made me laugh, it made me smile. You know, and I can't find it. Obviously, it's going to be probably in another book, probably in something like Voltaire or Beckwith's Greek Buddha book, or it could be in The Way of Pyrrho, or The Skeptic Way. Could be anywhere. But anyway. So, unless you guys got anything else to add, I think we'll close it down for this evening. It's been a bit of a funny one. We've had upwards of 8 people on, and now there's 6 of you. So I think we'll leave it there now, and I'll bid you all a fond good night. Thanks for coming on, guys. You all know who you are. Dave, Tom, Kay, Justin, Charles, Tina. Keep it in touch, and remember, lots of stuff coming out. Keep your eyes on the internet. When you see something that I post, please share it with your friends and force them to share it as well, just to get the message out there. And I look forward to seeing you on one of the online sessions. All right, take care, guys. Have a good night.